The ceasefire may have actually been agreed upon and reduced fighting in some parts of West Asia, but it has amplified a much bigger question, and that is, has US President Donald Trump lost his credibility? Because the fallout for Trump has been enormous. Within hours of announcing a fragile ceasefire, the cracks were already visible. In a post on social media, Trump said that restarting the war remains a military option for the US, but politically, it is a risk that the US president may not be able to afford, and Iran likely knows this as well. Talks are likely to begin in Islamabad on Saturday this week, and the leverage appears to have shifted. Iran likely understands that with the US midterm elections approaching, global pressure mounting, and Trump soon to meet Xi Jinping in China, Washington has far more to lose if this war resumes. And this factor perhaps holds true even domestically. Because since the temporary ceasefire, there have been immediate economic gains. Oil prices have dropped, stock markets have jumped as well. The war has also exposed deep fractures, not just with adversaries, but with allies, putting further strain onto Trump's credibility. Gulf nations were reportedly caught off guard. Their critical infrastructure left vulnerable as Iranian missiles struck key partners, allegedly felt blindsided, not briefed. Now, even within Trump's own support base, remember, divisions have been reportedly widening. Lawmakers, including those with strong anti-Iran views, are questioning a war that reportedly cost $1 billion a day. With little clarity on strategy or the end goal, the polling numbers also reflect this fallout. A recent YouGov, an economist survey, places Trump's net approval at minus 23%, which is among the lowest for his presidency. The numbers are being compared to the political collapse of former President Joe Biden after his performance in a debate in 2024, where often he appeared incoherent and confused, after which many Americans had questioned if he was even fit for office. And now, the fractures are spreading into NATO. In fact, just a short while back, NATO chief Mark Rutte communicated Trump's demands to European countries which are part of the bloc. And as per the statement by the NATO spokesperson, the US expects concrete commitments and action to ensure freedom of navigation in the Strait of Hormuz. Rutte was on a visit to Washington on Wednesday, where he had meetings with the US president. Reportedly, Rutte has informed the European countries that Washington expects these commitments to be concrete to deploying warships or other military capabilities to the Strait of Hormuz within the coming days. In fact, this is what Rutte has assured Trump as well. NATO is doing everything possible to support the US.
I sensed his disappointment about the fact that he felt that too many allies were not with him. And I explained to him yesterday, I said, hey, Mr. President, clearly the overwhelming majority of Europeans have done what the US asked of him and what was previously agreed in these circumstances.
The Trump administration is reportedly also considering a plan to punish alliance members that it believes did not support the Iran war effort. The proposal includes withdrawing American troops from some of the NATO countries and relocating them to more supportive nations. The US currently, remember, has around 84,000 troops stationed across Europe. But tensions are rising. Countries like Spain have blocked US military access to its airspace during the war. Italy and France had imposed restrictions on American operations. Italy, in fact, briefly blocked the US access of an air base in Sicily, while Paris agreed to only allow the US to use a base in southern France after it guaranteed planes will not be involved in Iranian strikes that would land there. Now, they could reportedly face consequences, but on the other hand, remember, countries like Poland, Romania, Lithuania, and Greece, seen as more supportive, may benefit from increased American military presence. The plan could reportedly also involve closing an American base in at least one of the European countries, like Spain, which has two major US military installations at Morón and Rutte, or Germany, which has at least 7 major military installations spread across the country. In fact, US has alluded to the possibility as well of a withdrawal of some kind from NATO, with the White House Press Secretary Karoline Leavitt stating that this is something that the US president has discussed about.
I have a direct quote from the President of the United States on NATO, and I will share it with all of you. They were tested and they failed. And I would add, it's quite sad that NATO turned their backs on the American people over the course of the last 6 weeks when it's the American people who have been funding their defense.
This is not just military or troops reorganization. It is perhaps a sign that the alliance is more divided with the U.S. as ever. And the gap is only widening the ceasefire, which runs until the 21st of April. It may hold beyond its expiry, we don't know yet. But the spotlight remains on Trump. And the question that refuses to go away is, did this war expose America's limitations and shatter Donald Trump's credibility?